Okay, folks, so today I want to talk about this idea in psychology that, it was always, I've heard about this for many years, and when you hear about it, it kind of makes sense when you think about it, but it also you kind of think to yourself, okay, well, how do you really put something like that you hear theory sometimes and think, okay, well, that makes sense, but how solid is it? And this theory is this idea that when you're a kid, from the time you're born to the time you're 7, all your programming is done. So basically, after 7 years old, you're basically on a loop for the rest of your life. Those are really the important years, from 0 to 7. And then after that, whatever that kid went through, it's just a repetitive loop for the rest of their life. Now, when you think about it, like I said, okay, yeah, I see that. That kind of makes sense. But then I thought about something that really seals it really well to kind of show you, to something that's a little less abstract. So there's this YouTube channel that I like watching. It's a man by the name of Rick Beato. And Rick Beato is a producer, musician, and he has a very successful YouTube channel. And he's got a young kid, a boy. And this young boy has perfect pitch. Now, perfect pitch is the idea of, if I make a sound, you know exactly what note that is. That's like whatever. That's a C, that's an F, that's a D. Whatever note it is, you know it instantly without any reference to any other notes. You just know it inside your head. Now, the theory is you actually can't develop perfect pitch past the age of 7. So the idea is, you're born, you can teach a kid this technique to have perfect pitch, but you have to teach them no later than the age of 7. So if you try teaching a kid perfect pitch when they're 9 or 10, they're never going to get it. Now that's interesting. That really shows you that's a complete same thing with the idea that, like, from 0 to 7, all your programming is done, and past that, you're on a loop. Perfect pitch is exactly the same way, and that's something very technical and concrete. It's not abstract. You take a kid from the age of 0 to 7, you can literally teach them perfect pitch, where you can just hear any note and know what it is. Oh, that's a C sharp. And after the age of 7, impossible. No one has ever done it, from what I've heard. In the history of time, no one past the age of 7 has developed perfect pitch. You're done. You're on a loop after that point. It's done. Now that's really interesting, because when you hear that, 0 to 7, and you think, damn, that's really concrete stuff, this idea. Shows you how different your brain is from 0 to 7 compared to after that. It's almost like, well, there we go. We got enough data, and now we're going to just go on a repetitive loop. Now, why do I mention all of this? I didn't start school until I was after the age of 7. I was probably like 7.5 when I started school. I started school in grade 2. I didn't go to pre-kindergarten, kindergarten, or grade 1. I started school in grade 2, and I was like just after I turned 7. Now, here's something interesting I noticed when I went to school, and I still remember it to this day, like so clearly in my head. I remember going to school and thinking, holy shit, why is everybody so robotic and well-trained? Everybody seemed like they were like little marching soldiers. Line up, do this, sit down, put your hand up. It seemed so robotic, and I remember feeling that. I was a very free kid. And I remember how weird it felt. But at that time, I couldn't rationalize it. I didn't understand. It's not like at that time I looked and thought, well, yeah, of course, because, they were programmed before 7, so they're used to being on this programmed way of how to think. Because what we do with kids is, like, from the second we're born, we tell them how things are. We tell them the rules. We tell them how to think. We tell them what's right, what's wrong, and we don't let them develop these thoughts for themselves. So what am I saying? What is the point of this video? I'm not saying I'm the almighty of truth. I'm an idiot making YouTube videos with 100 subscribers. Okay, obviously, my success in life is not exactly you're gonna listen to me because I'm some sort of like authority on ideas. But humor me for a second. It's so, if you have a kid, if you're gonna have a kid, it's so goddamn important from the time they're 0 to the time they're 7 to let them think for themselves. Don't tell them what's right and what's wrong. Don't tell them how things work. Let them contemplate things. Let them think. Because that's when you really develop the ability to think for yourself. If you're told everything, if you're spoon-fed everything from the second you're born, you expect that as an adult afterwards. Oh, what's this? I don't know. What's the evidence for that? I don't know. I can't think about that. Tell me, religious person. After that, because that's what people look for. They look for answers from religion, and they also look for answers from science, because you can't contemplate stuff on your own, because you're always told, what's the answer, Daddy? This is the answer. Okay. And that's it. So I'm saying from the time they're 0 to the time they're 7, hold up on the answers, hold up on the rules, hold up on the preaching, telling them what's right or wrong, and just let them think for themselves, figure things out. Even if they have a wacky idea, even if they're 4 and they tell you, I think the way this works, I think the sky is blue because it's filled with blue marshmallows. Don't tell them, oh, no, that's wrong. I'll give you just let them think about concepts. It doesn't matter how silly they are, because that's when you develop the ability to think for yourself. And like I said, that's specifically what I remembered when I went to school in grade 2. Is everyone seemed very robotic and incapable of independent thought. I noticed that right away. It was like this weird feeling inside of me. Everything just seemed so robotic. And I never understood it till I was an adult, and I looked back and I started really understanding the psychology of human beings and how we're programmed from an early age. But that perfect pitch thing really sealed it for me to show you something really technical that's not abstract. How after the age of 7, done. Your brain is just capable of that's when it forms everything from 0 to 7. So if you have kids, if you know, maybe if you have even if you don't have kids, maybe you have nephews. If you're whoever you're babysitting young kids, if you're around young kids, give them the freedom to have their own thoughts, their own theories, their own ideas. And it doesn't matter what those theories and thoughts are. Just let them think for themselves. Don't tell them the rules. This is right. This is wrong. Because all our morals, when we think you're wrong, you're right, all of that is given to us by society. We can't use our own head to come up with our own moral compass. Our moral compass is basically whatever the hell society tells us. It's in our program. You can't escape that. So if you let a kid develop their own moral compass, their own ideas, they're not preconditioned to this idea. And that's it. That's all I wanted to say. Because it's one of the greatest gifts to be able to think for yourself, to have your own moral compass, to be able to have independent thought. And that's when you really develop it from 0 to 7. And that's it. So that's basically it. Yeah, I guess I'll see you in the next video. Take care, guys. Bye.